Nidhi madam, please begin.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
All right, all right, ma'am. So, with the due permission of the resource person, may I start, ma'am?
Sure, Nidhi.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Dr. Nidhi Nalwaya, Associate Professor, Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, welcome you all in the series of webinars at Parul University. Our education system faces a number of constraints and challenges. Uh, with regard to quality research, it is one of them. Research is required not just for the students in academics, but for all the professionals and non-professional alike. The research webinars at Parul University are being conducted with the express objective of bridging the gap between academics and the ongoing latest research procedure. uh, Statistical knowledge helps the researcher and the faculty members to use the right methods to collect the data, perform the collect analysis, and effectively present the results. With regard to this, data cleaning and data mining is done when the analytics software, or you can say, automatically cleans the data sets of invalid records and out of date information. So softwares reduces the business cost by allowing the business to use the data in a profitable manner. Also, the research software improves the business productivity and profitability by allowing many of the researchers to make more informed decision. So, keeping this in mind to understand the contemporary dimensions in academic writing, today's webinar title is about making the most out of your PhD journey, a guiding approach to academic research. I take the opportunity to introduce our eminent guest speaker, who is a research consultant at Simplify Research, Dr. Monica Soni. She is a university gold medalist in a bachelor's and in her master's as well. She has qualified NET JRF in 2011, and she has even done her master's and completed her PhD in 2018. She has also been instrumental in implementing various research driven projects and has a unique perspective and valuable experience in these areas. She has worked as a teaching assistant at Indian Institute of Management, Udaipur, is a very renowned name in itself. She was associated with MHRD RUSA project with Department of Business Administration, MLS University, as a research associate. She also possesses 2-year teaching experience as a guest lecturer for undergraduates and postgraduates for the MHRM students. On the part of certification, she has completed online FDP program from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad in 2021, and also in this regard, she has completed MDP making research papers and the articles in various national and international seminars and conferences. She has presented papers with the title being related to environmental specific, with regard to their behavior, and some of the area related to corporate social responsibility. And she has won several awards with regard to her research areas. She has received one of the best paper award, the paper entitled Disclosure Pattern of Six Capitals under the IR framework, selected South African companies in 38th All India Accounting Conference and International Seminar on Accounting Education and Research, which was organized by University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh. She's also associated with Indian Accounting Association, and she's a member of ICAI as well. Her latest award includes the area which is related to She selected as a silver category award at ICAI International Research Award, organized by Institute of Chartered Accountant in 2021. Ma'am, this is an opportunity for us to hear you for the researchers of Parul Institute of Commerce and the Parul University as well. Without wasting more time, I hand over the session to you. Welcome you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. And before starting, just am I audible? My voice? Yes. Thank you so much, Nidhi, and thank you for such a great introduction. So yes, uh, Nidhi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. So for better connectivity, I'm just switching off my video for right now, and later on we can start the thing.
Sure.
So thank you so much for inviting me so to interact with the students who somewhere sees their great future in academics, as well as they can find when you are with the research you can also associate your great future in industrial aspect as well. So we have this notion that research is constrained, like if you are doing a PhD, yes, I agree that one of the career opportunity you have with you is like into academics, but along with that you also have the opportunity in going in the great industries or MNCs also. So keeping that thing in mind, please take this session as an opportunity which will be there not only specific to one certain area, but it will help you out in the other areas as well. And on the research front, already Nidhi has told you so much about me. And just I want to tell you this thing that I have been doing into this research from the last 5 years. And I have started this Simplify research with an aim to help the students to understand the basic fundamentals and to help them build the blocks of their research journey. So I hope this session will be fruitful to all the people who have already joined this through Facebook or who are there in the Geo Meet also. So without wasting any time, let me start with the presentation. So just this, I guess this is visible to all. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It is
So
visible.
yeah, thank you, Nidhi. Thank you. And since I'm on the like, I have started with the PPT PowerPoint slide presentation. So if there is any kind of query or question, so can be handled at the end of the session, or you can just, if there are something which you feel that should be sought out at the in the like middle of the session itself, then you can definitely tell me. Okay. So that will be, I think so, we can adopt that kind of strategy for this presentation, right? Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
So, yeah. So, do you feel prepared starting for your research journey? So, that was the question which I would like to ask, and which you would ask yourself, because most of the people, like if I give you, I will be talking purely based on my research experience, because I have worked in the state university, I have worked in one of the top management institute. I have seen both the contrasting cultures. I have seen what research was all about when I was doing it and how it has significantly changed. Like I was enrolled in 2013 and now it is 2020, almost 10 years. So how much it has significantly changed, what dimension has changed, what is the mindset of the students doing the research, what are the problems we as a research scholars are facing. So that all will be shared and it will help you out, not as a boring session or lecture that okay there will be a PPT and we will be going all by slide. Just some points, some tips that you should inculcate from the starting itself, so that it will make your research journey smooth, and along with that you will enjoy it. So, do you feel prepared starting for your research journey? Now, when you are into research, whether you have already completed your research or you are in the mid of your research PhD journey or you are writing something, because it is a never stopping thing. Even if you complete your PhD nowadays, let me tell you, my friends, even if you go to in a simple college where you are joining as a lecturer, there will be a pressure on you to write research papers. There will be a pressure on you, and you have to contribute in a qualitative ways to the institute by writing good papers. So if you develop certain habits, or if you have certain fundamental conceptual clarity from the beginning itself, then it will be a smooth journey. Otherwise, you will just juggle around between your academic duties and between your research publications or research writing. So, that is what the problem right now most of the people face, because at that point of time that there was not so much of awareness. People were not aware like how to start or how to continue the research journey. Now, when you are entering into research this domain, please be in mind what is your objective. आप किस लिए इस research journey में आए? Just to get a degree called a doctor? You want it in with your name, like I like it to be called like a doctor name, or you really want to learn something and you see your future in academic perspective, or you want to go into MNC? You see your career into your MNC or industrial things. So you need to decide, because first you decide this thing, then only it will be easy for you to continue, because whatever you will be doing in the last 5 years or जो PhD का journey है, that will decide your future. So are you prepared means, if you are already into it, you have to get prepared. You do not have any choice. So think like that this is something I need to invest in myself as my career. Because if you give your 5 years or 4 to 5 years, even after this doing research, if you sincerely devote or invest your time into research, it will give you exponential result in terms of good publication, in terms of good name. So that will definitely come to you, and in terms of good job prospectus. So what comes to your mind when you hear about PhD, or when you hear about this word called research? So we have asked so many people, and this is what the chart looks like. So people, when they hear about PhD, they basically think about academic jobs, they think about teaching, they think about reading, they think about PDF files, they think about okay, we have to download files, we have to read it. That is what it will be all about. They think about presentations, conference, they think about supervisor, the relationship with the supervisor, they think about the label doctor. So this is all the things which comes into our mind. So how we are going to, what is the main like objective of the presentation will be to help you understand what research is all about, to explain you the different dimension which is there in the research process, to help you in connecting the different dots of the research journey, and to motivate you in the right direction. So I'm again telling you this thing, okay, this is not a typical a lecture kind of thing. All the things which I will be tell you, it will be a crux. जो मैंने पिछले 6 almost like 8 to 9 years which I have learned, I'm delivering that thing in 1 hour. Okay, I'm telling you that in 1 hour. So just because most of the things I have learned when I was there working in IIM Udaipur. So because there was a contrasting culture over there, and it was again a kind of a unlearning then relearning. So that was the thing which was going on. And especially after attending the faculty development program, there were so many dimensions and different perspectives which I got to know. So it helped me a lot. So how we are going to have the flow of the presentation? First, I will just give you an idea. See, this presentation will be helpful for both the people. So I have made this presentation based keeping in mind that either you are into a research field, you have just started your journey, or you're going to start your journey. And second, even if you have completed your research, you are writing a research paper, or you're thinking about into research, then what are the main things which you need to concern and which you need to concentrate upon? So selecting a research topic, that is what we will talk about. Then basic types of research, because you should be aware like what kind of research is types of research are available. Research process, एंड हाउ टू प्लान फॉर द रिसर्च. आप अपनी रिसर्च को प्लान कैसे करेंगे? बहुत सिंपल से हम टॉपिक्स पे बात करेंगे, लेकिन ये आपका सब, इट विल कवर एवरीथिंग. इट विल बी लाइक यू वोंट फील लाइक कुछ रह गया है या हमें कुछ नहीं आता है. सो आफ्टर लाइक 40-45 minutes, at least you will be like, okay, if I'm into research, I have to keep in mind these things. I have to be very much like particular about these particular things that will help me to have a smooth sailing in my research journey. So, what is the research? I think so. You must have read in several books. One of the, you can call it a guru book, is your C.R. Kothari, because that is what I have read in 2013 and 2012 also. So, that is the research is basically a creative and a systematic work which is undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge. And academic research, I tell you, people are now they are moving more towards into academic research, and more of the people are getting enrolled into PhD. Now it is not an easy task to get into any university if you want to do PhD. They have their own entrance exam. So it is getting, again, it is increasing. The popularity is there of the academic research. And it involves, if you talk about systematic means you need to have certain procedure. आप कोई भी चीज अगर scientifically या systematic कोई word हम use कर रहे हैं, that means it has to be a certain procedures which you need to follow. Collection, organization, analysis of information. तो आई थिंक सो आपने कहीं ना कहीं तो ये अभी तक अगर आप हैं तो ये पता होगा कि रिसर्च के अंदर चैप्टर्स लिखे जाते हैं. रिसर्च अगर मैं पीएचडी कर रही हूँ या करूंगा मैं, तो एक चैप्टर्स हमें लिखने हैं. वी हैव टू राइट 4 to 5 चैप्टर्स. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4. So it will start with introduction, review of literature. So this is the basic thing we know. So we have a structure. It is a systematic structure which you follow in your academic research that helps you out a lay foundation in your. अब ये some corporate से कैसे relate करेंगे? When you are thinking about systematically, that means you are strategizing. Okay, you are strategizing. You know which steps to follow first in order to get the result or in order to get the outcome, and that will help you in your corporate world also. The most important thing which we neglect, I have seen it with my personal experience also, and this is something very important, which is your research topic. अब आप कोई भी फील्ड में हो, एक्स वाई जी, कॉमर्स, मैनेजमेंट और साइंस फील्ड, आर्ट्स में है, नॉट एन इश्यू. But what you are going to select as your research topic, deciding upon that is very important. And you won't believe, a good institute or good management institute, if a person is doing from the top management institute PhD, there they spend almost 1.5 year in deciding the research topic. And in contrast, I have seen people deciding the research topic just in 1 month or 2 months, which is like something not practically to do, because later on you may find that that research topic is not what actually you wanted to do. So deciding or selecting upon a research topic is very important. Now, how do you go to that thing? I am just going to give you a practical thing. Everything practically. कैसे करेंगे आप? Because if you enter into a research domain and you want to select a research topic, तो you need to first of all decide. आप किसी डिपार्टमेंट में अपना पीएचडी का एडमिशन लिया होगा आपने, right? So you must have selected certain department where you have been registered as a PhD scholar. So now you have decided, okay, my area, my department is clear. Whether it is accountancy, whether it is into management, or whether it is in banking, you are clear with this thing that what is your PhD domain area. Then you need to select your area of research interest. Specifically, if you are in accountancy, what do you want to do in accountancy? आप करना क्या चाहते हैं? In banking or in human resource management or in your management field, what do you want to do? So area of interest you need to select. ये major problem होती है that people they do not know what area of interest them. And seriously speaking, I tell this thing in my every webinar, whether you attend my webinar or whether you attend any of the webinar, it won't make any sense until unless you decide, because the research journey is yours. We can only guide you. We can only tell you, okay, do this, do that. Even your supervisor can guide you. They are your guide or mentor. But you have to do 80 to 90% of hard work will come from your side. So please be very sure and very wisely decide that which area of interest interests you. So if suppose it is like organizational behavior, because my MBA was in HR. So if my MBA was in HR and OB, so area of interest is my AB, OB and HR, then again I have to narrow it down, because OB is a very wide field, right? So narrow it down. What in OB, what do you want to study? I want to study leadership. Leadership, there are different kinds of leadership style. There is a lot of thing in leadership. What do you want to study in leadership also? Again, you have to narrow it down. So I want to study sustainable or green leadership. See, my topic of research was related to carbon management. Like, how do leaders behave when we talk about so much of carbon emission? What strategies do they adopt? So that is what my topic was related. So I have to be very specific, because you cannot be like this कि मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, मैं वो भी कर सकता हूँ. I can merge marketing also, I can merge HR also, I can merge finance also. Don't do that thing. Decide upon certain, because आगे when you will go into any interview, they will ask you your specific area of interest. So prepare in that way from the starting itself. So decide or select the research area where you feel, okay, I'm comfortable with this topic, I like this topic, it is interesting, it is contemporary, and it has future. Very important. So green, as you know that right now we are so much talking about ESG, like economic and social growth. We are talking about so much of we are talking about sustainability or reducing the carbon emission. So take or decide on certain areas which you feel they have certain future, and it will last. As now that you are taking a certain topic, and after 5 years that topic becomes redundant, that nobody is interested, because it is already so much has been done from the last 20 years, that you have taken a topic in the last 5 years, but so much of a study has already been done in from last 20-25 years. So there is no kind of new thing which you can add. So be very cautious while selecting your area of research topic. So see, the if you can see the boxes I have drawn over here. First, area of interest, area of research topic. Research topic you have narrowed it down, and then more you have been very specific, like impact of sustainable leadership on organizational performance in energy intensive sector. So this is a kind of a thing. मेरा एक टाइटल बनकर आ रहा है, which can be obviously modified. हम और modify कर सकते हैं, but this is how you have to go. Understanding that first we have decided about area of interest, we are deciding upon the research topic, then we have to narrow it down, and then finally we are selecting that, okay, मैं इस पे पढ़ना चाहती हूँ, या I want to read or I want to do research into this area. So choose your topic very wisely. Generally, what we do, we go to the mentor, we go to the guide, and if whatever guide says, you select that topic, which is also a good strategy. But uh, see to it, you see your future, or do you connect yourself with that topic? Do you feel that, okay, this is also a topic which interests me? So my guide also suggested me carbon management topic. He was into taxation area, but my area was related to OBHR. So we merged. We said, okay, we will do carbon leadership. We will move into the carbon management area. So it will be like trading policies also. And at the same time, we will be studying, one of the objectives would be the strategies adopted by the leaders also. So this comes only when you discuss it with your guide, and when you share it with your guide, and suppose the answer comes, okay, the guide is very much involved, there is academic duties, there are academic responsibility, which we also understand, share it with your friends or colleagues into the similar research area. You need to have a broader circle now. If you are into research area, try to connect with the people who are into your area of interest. So narrow your topic to something, review the guidelines on the topic, refer to the lecture notes, or refresh your knowledge. Because whatever you have read till MBA or till your masters, now it is a time that you will be moving to an other upper level. See, PhD is considered to be the most like highest degree in academics. If you are having the obviously there is again doctor this post we go for the postdoctoral, but postdoctoral is a kind of a research experience. So PhD is a kind of a degree which you get. So you need to upgrade your knowledge accordingly. And whenever you are thinking about your research topic, always look for these W's. Like, why did you choose the topic? Who are the information you are going to provide? What are the major questions of your topic? Where is your topic important? And when was your topic is important? Whether you are taking a topic which was historical in nature or which is like future, like artificial intelligence. If you talk about blockchain accounting, these are the certain very prominent topics which will be quite, emerging issues in the coming future. Selecting topic is why it is important, because it will help in the publication also. Certain journals, they invite articles which are very concurrent, which are very futuristic, and they feel that okay, future these topics are very important, so your frequency or your chances of publications gets very higher at that point of time. See, I have written some examples of the research topic. This I have taken from Shodh Ganga. Role of teachers' motivation in students' higher achievements in different domains, a qualitative research. Can you read this thing? Role of teachers' motivation. See how they have written the research topics. So when you are deciding the topic for your thesis, the perspective should be clear, not only to you but to the reader also. If I read your thesis, so first thing I'm going to do is read your title. What is the title of your thesis? So if the title is not clear, then I might not even understand that what you are trying to say. Why should I devote my time in reading your thesis? So the title of the thesis should be very clear. Role of organizational culture and organizational commitment in industrial relation, a study of public sector enterprise. Can you see, in one topic itself, the person has provided so much of information, that it is about organizational culture, it is about organizational commitment in industrial relationship, and specifically to the public sector domain. Next, recent trends in accounting with special reference to IFRS in the corporate sector of India, in India. So can you see how they have written their title of their thesis? A study of the role of forensic accounting in detecting financial frauds. So this is how the title of the your thesis will be decided. And keep this thing in mind. जैसे एक बच्चे का नाम होता है, that lives, the name of a baby lives with him or her forever. Similarly, the title or the research title will be there will be with you forever. So initially, if you go for any kind of interviews, they will ask you, okay, what was your research title, what was your research topic? So decide your research topic very wisely. So I have given you this much of lecture that okay, select this thing, do this thing, do that thing. Now the question arises, all these stages are there, but how do I do it? How do I go through it? How do I see what is my area of interest? What is, how do I narrow it down to the topic specifically? Again, I should narrow it down more. So only the answer is reading, review of literature. Please keep in mind, if you see your research journey as a long one, as a long game, I might say, like if you feel like that I have to spend my life in academic, especially that if you want to have your career in academics, then you have to develop the habit of reading. Otherwise तो नहीं होगा. ज़्यादा long समय तक तो you cannot drag it, especially into research. You cannot do it. So, review of literature is very important. You need to read, and by reading itself, and I tell you, we are having a fear of reading, or we do not feel like reading. But gradually, if you will read one article, two article, three article, after 10th or 12th article, you yourself will get to know, okay, this area is interesting, I am liking this thing, okay, this study is interesting. So gradually it will happen. Moving forward, so first you have decided upon the research topic, and I have told you that people take time, a lot of time, in deciding upon the research topic, not only for the thesis I'm talking about, but even for writing papers. Even if you're writing papers they get rejected on the basis of the title. When the title are not clear, the journal says that the title is misleading or it is not clearly showing what you are trying to say. So deciding upon title is very important. And for that, what you can do, what is the tip for that? First, discuss it with your guide or mentor. You feel that you require more of the like guidance for that, or you require more of the discussion on that. Discuss it with your friends who are doing the research into the similar areas. And third, read. Reading will only help you out into your specific domain. Now, as we start reading, there is a way of doing that, because initially we were doing that was a thing that okay, we used to read one chapter. There is a way of reading a novel, there is a way of reading the storybook, there is a way of reading certain like chapters in science or in English. Similarly, there is a way of reading in your academic writing also. When you read journal articles, there is a way of reading it. And because at that point of time you have to keep in mind that what you are looking for, just do not read for the sake of reading it. Try to find out that what it is trying to say. That is very essential, and it won't come with the first article or second article. Gradually only you will be going to develop it. So you need to understand certain terminologies when you read such research papers. If you will understand that thing, then only you will be able to classify it. Okay, this paper is talking in this way, this paper is talking into certain this way. So generally, if you talk about the broad categories of the research, the first broad category is your descriptive research. So if you are reading a paper in which the author or the researcher has just described certain characteristics, certain phenomena, like certain features of particular event or particular organization or of public in nature, anything in that sort of thing, that means that author is talking about the descriptive research. So descriptive research is what? It is used to describe the characteristics of a population. Now we will discuss what population is all about. I will tell you in short later on. But population in general way, it is the complete unit which you are interested in doing research. Like I want to study about MBA students in Rajasthan. So all MBA students in Rajasthan is my population. Very simple way. So the complete units, and from that you are going to select certain units which will form your sample. Okay, so descriptive research, what? If you just take one paper and that person has described or has pointed out certain phenomena, characteristics, especially like case study when we talk about, and you have just described what is happening, what it is all about. So you are just describing it. So it is a kind of a descriptive research you are doing. Like example I have written, I have again got these example from the Shodh Ganga, like impact of teaching of Bible on the wholesome personality development of adolescents, a descriptive study. So this is, if you read this title, it is a kind of a descriptive study in which the researcher has tried to explain what is the impact on the personality of adolescents when they are teaching of the teaching of the Bibles in that context. Descriptive research on attitudes of employees towards their organization, employee satisfaction and human resource management practices, a case study of Workart Private Limited. So if you take one paper and you are reading it, and on reading that thing you will recognize, okay, they have described certain things, that means they are having a kind of a descriptive research. They have done which kind of research? They have done a kind of a descriptive research. Here, then you have exploratory research. This is again a very common and popular kind of research, exploring something out. So it is a research or methodology approach which investigates research questions that has not been previously been studied in depth. So if you feel that your topic is something which has not been previously studied, then you can go such kind of research which is exploratory research. So if you see certain research on new topics which are very new, like artificial intelligence, it has just recently started in context of HR, or you see blockchain accounting in context of HR, and people are in explorative research they are doing. So it is a very new topic. Even I have seen many, and later on, obviously, then people that they get into that domain, and there are several other researches comes around. So that again continues. But exploratory means something which is very new, which nobody has talked about, or where there is no new knowledge is available. So earlier I have seen paper in when there was pandemic was going on. The exploratory research was in context of how doctors and nurses or medical staff they are having the psychological imbalances due to the corona patients all over in the hospital. So that was a exploratory research. A new kind of research was there, that how such kind of environment, when you see corona patients everywhere, how it is impacting your psychological level. So if you are doing certain such kind of research, or you read paper where people are doing such kind of research on the new topic, that means it is an exploratory research. So I am just telling you कि वो क्या है, हम ये पता कर रहे हैं अभी. उसके अंदर उन्होंने कैसे किया है, हाउ दे डिड इट, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट. What it is, we are, I'm just telling you that it is an exploratory research. How they performed an exploratory research, that is an another question. वो बहुत अलग चीज है. Okay. So this I have given some example over here. Impact of corporate governance practices on the firm's capital structure decision and explorative study in Indian context. Marketing intelligence through consumer review analysis, a text mining approach. E-governance, a strategic management tool for university in Karnataka, and exploratory study. So these are all the real examples. These are the real title of thesis which I have taken from Shodh Ganga. So Shodh Ganga is basically a hub where you will find the thesis. The people have uploaded their thesis from the university. They have already submitted, and you can use them as a reference and you can read them. It is a free resource which is available. Okay. So if you type on the Google Shodh Ganga, and if you will type about your topic, you will get all the thesis name or the thesis details which has been done on that particular topic. And the third most common type, which I will be saying as the last one, which I have written over here, is your empirical research or causal research. So empirical research is what? It is based on the observation and measurement of a phenomena. Like you want to study how motivation impacts the employee productivity. So empirical is something which is done on a basis of measuring and like developing the relationship between the variables. When you want to study how the variables, now if I say variables means something which you want to study. If you want to study capital performance, you want to study happiness, satisfaction, employee productivity, you want to study accounting standards, these are all variables. तो जो भी आप पढ़ेंगे वो आपके variables कहलाएंगे. Now if you want to establish certain relationship, if you read one paper and it's like establishing the impact of something, and they are establishing certain relationship, and they are trying to validate and test that thing by developing hypothesis, that means they are doing an empirical research. वो empirical research की बात कर रहा है. So empirical study of equity share prices of selected automobile manufacturing companies in India, and empirical investigation into workplaces issues of temporary workers in automotive industries at Chennai. So these are certain examples. So I hope you are clear, like what are the three basic types of research. First is your descriptive research, second is basically your empirical research, and then you have exploratory research. Okay. So if you are reading any kind of paper, you should be aware कि okay, ये exploratory research की बात करता है, ये empirical. अब करते कैसे हैं वो? Again, that is the question. So research design, how do you do it? So you can do it in the two way. You can have quantitative research or qualitative research. तो हर एक research design का, हर एक research का अपना एक method होता है, एक तरीका होता है. लेकिन broadly, if you talk about broadly, they will having the two methods. And third method would be mixed method, like using both. quantitative and qualitative. So just to tell you what is the difference, quantitative means when you have metric data. Metric means something in numbers. When you convert any kind of data into numbers, or you collect the data purely in numbers, then it would be a quantitative research design. So first I said you convert something into numbers. So if you convert happiness, satisfaction, motivation into numbers by calculating it or by measuring it on a scale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that means you are talking about quantitative data. You are talking about quantitative kind of research design. So you are converting some feelings, emotion into numbers. Or purely you are collecting, like I ask you your weight, I ask your age, I ask your income, purely numbers will come, then it is a quantitative research design. So in accountancy, if you are talking about how performance is affected and you see all the profit after tax, market capitalization, impact of the sales, such data you are collecting in an Excel sheet, that means you are doing a quantitative research. Qualitative research design, very kind of new, or I would say not that much of interest in Indian context. I have not seen many people doing it because of the reason that it is quietly lengthy and requires very much of expertise. So data which is collected not in numbers form. When you are saying not in numbers form, then in how? In form of statements, in form of words. When you collect the data and then you analyze it, then it is your qualitative data. So interviews, focus group discussion, or some kind of observations, or your Facebook data, or your Twitter's data. So all such data which is not there in form of numbers, but it is there available in forms of statements or in forms of words, and you have to analyze them, then it would be your qualitative research design. And third would be something mixed. You are using both quantitative also and qualitative also. So I hope it is clear to you that what is quantitative research design. When you have numbers or matrix, numbers are there. So it could be something which you have converted into numbers, or something which is purely available in numbers. And second is your qualitative research design, something which you cannot have in numbers. So if you ask me what are my feelings regarding the pandemic which is going on, so I cannot tell you in numbers. I will express my feelings and emotions, and you ask from the 15 other people, you compile the data, you analyze it. That means you are doing a qualitative research. Now, next we will be moving on to the research process. So, research process, as you know, it started with the defining your broad area of research. So, research process हो कहीं पर भी, चाहे it is related to your thesis or it is related to your research paper, you need to first decide your broad area, that in which field you want to write a paper or in which field you want to write the thesis. Discuss it with your guide and decide major field of your on based on your interest level. आप interest level किस में रखते हैं. Then read current area of research in that particular field. Read literature from the journal articles, and I would say make an Excel sheet. शुरू से आप शुरू से ही Excel sheet बना के रखिए. कोई भी article if you are reading it, please आप उसकी entry करिए. आप उसकी that number one article, name of the that article, then journal का name क्या है, उसमें authors कौन है, based on what you feel like is very important. So it is a kind of a database which you can prepare. Narrow down with the topic and title. So here also you need to read the literature, discuss with your guide or friends in the same area. So first process, starting research process, is your deciding upon your research topic. Why I'm focusing more on this thing? क्योंकि अगर एक बार रिसर्च टॉपिक आपने सही डिसाइड कर लिया और वो लॉक हो गया इन द फॉर्म ऑफ योर सिनॉप्सिस, यू कैन नॉट चेंज इट, राइट. जनरली ऐसा होता है, आपकी पीजीआर भी होती है, दैट डिपार्टमेंटल रिव्यू बोर्ड सिस्टम आपका बैठता है. You cannot change it later on. So you have to be very wise regarding all your this thing. Then comes to your review of literature. Review of literature क्या होता है? I think so you most of the people they know it, reading from the literature. Now I would say reading, but I would say from where? आपको कहाँ से read करना चाहिए? Read from the good qualitative journals. ABDC journal list is available over here. So you read from this thing. आप ABDC journal list अगर आप Google पे if you will search it, you can download it, and that list contains all sort of journals, all kind of journals, and they are good journals. So from the starting itself, develop a habit of reading from the very good journals or Scopus journal. Now the thing is, academic there is so much competition. There is so much competition. I tell you that Even if you are filling a form of a simple university, they will ask you whether you have publication in Scopus based journal or not. Okay. So why not to prepare it from the starting itself? Why not to be prepared from the starting itself? So read journals from the Scopus based uh, database. So Scopus is what? Scopus is a kind of a database which has so many journals available, and they all are well renowned journals. They are good journals. Okay. So I have written these two words. What you have to do is just you have to search on the internet about these two words, and you will get the link. So I have opened up the Google also, and I will show you what it is all about. Now, for review of literature, these two softwares are very popular. First is your Mendeley, and second is Zotero. So these two softwares, you can use it if you are going for review of literature. Mendeley is something which I prefer क्योंकि मैं खुद use करती हूँ. It is a kind of a software which will help you in organizing your review of literature. Most of the time क्या होता है that when you are starting your research journey or you are writing a paper, what we do, okay, we will go to the Google, we will search the paper on the Google Scholar, we will download the paper and keep it in downloads or keep it in some folders, and later on we forget it that which folder we have saved the paper. Later on we are very worried about that, okay, where to find out that paper. But these two softwares helps you in organizing your review of literature. And so if right now you are even starting it, or you are not, if you have used it, then well and good, you know that how to use it. But if you are starting it, just remember these two things and gradually learn that what these softwares are, because these are very simple softwares and they are free softwares. They are freely available. Okay. Now, what to do? Download good papers of your area, read the papers and make a note. Keep a note of authors, university and email. This is very important. I tell you, ये कुछ छोटी छोटी सी चीजें होती है which will help you a lot. LinkedIn, first of all, create a profile on your LinkedIn. Second, if you are reading a paper and if you are reading from a good journals, और आपको लगता है that this author is somewhere in Canada or somewhere not in India, then keep that name of the author, search it on LinkedIn and send a request. Try to interact. If you feel, okay, this is something, I won't say always disturb, but I'm saying that if you feel, okay, this person is, can help me or can help me in understanding certain things, try to establish network. And that networking comes only when you know that who are the person in your area of interest. And this you will come only by reading. Nobody will tell you my area of interest is totally different from your area of interest. Keep a note and then prepare an Excel sheet, or you can use the softwares. Most important thing, when you read the paper, identify the variables under your research study. मैं क्या पढ़ना चाहती हूँ? What do I want to study about job satisfaction, or do I want to study about job productivity? What you want to study? Do you want to compare like performance of one company with the another company in terms of profits or in terms of sales? How do you want to do it? So sales is one variable, profit is another variable, job satisfaction is one variable, and job commitment is another variable. So these all are variables. Research is all about statistics, and statistics is all about variables. सारे वेरिएबल्स की कहानी है. इफ यू डिसाइड अपॉन दैट what variables you want to study, एक variable, if you want to study one variable, you want to study two variables, three variables, how many variables you want to study, और उन variables को कैसे study करना है, that is also important. So if you want to study just one variable, that means you are talking about the univariate. When you talk about two variables, you are talking about bivariate, and three or more than three variables, you are talking about multivariate. So multivariate analysis आपने पढ़ा होगा, or you might have heard it. That means analysis for more than two variables. So if you just want to study one variable, you are just focusing upon employee performance. Just employee performance. You are just want to study what are the factors that affects employee performance, what is the role of employee performance in India, and you are just doing such kind of a study. That means you are studying only one variable. You want to study employee performance in context of the organizational performance. So that means you are studying more than one variable, you are doing two variables study. And now you want to study employee performance, not only on the organizational performance, also on the individual mental well-being. So individual mental well-being is again third variable which you have added. So ये कहानी सारी, the story is for all about the variables which you want to study. Decide अब आपको पढ़ना क्या है, whether you want to study the relationship, whether you want to study the impact, whether you want to compare the means, like you want to study the weight. अगर आप देखते हैं that you want to study how the weight of the individual changes with the age, or how it changes with the diet. अगर आप ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हैं, you want to see the differences, you want to compare incomes, you want to compare GDP of the different nations, what you want to do? और यू जस्ट वांट टू डिस्क्राइब इट, आपको कुछ कंपेयर नहीं करना, आपको सिर्फ डिस्क्राइब करना है. सो व्हाट यू वांट टू स्टडी विद योर वेरिएबल्स, वेरिएबल से करना क्या है, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ स्टडी यू आर लुकिंग फॉर. सो इसमें हाउ डू यू डू इट? व्हेन रीडिंग पेपर्स, अंडरलाइन द वेरिएबल्स अंडर द स्टडी. दैट अगर आपने कोई पेपर पढ़ा है, मार्क द वेरिएबल्स, दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वेरिएबल्स दे हैव स्टडी एंड व्हाट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड हाइपोथेसिस दे हैव फ्रेम. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि उन्होंने उस वेरिएबल्स के रिलेशन में क्या चीजें, क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को स्टडी किया है, और उस बेसिस पर क्या हाइपोथेसिस फ्रेम करी है. हाइपोथेसिस आर दी जनरल अजम्पशंस दैट वी मेक व्हेन वी ट्राई टू एंड विच वी ट्राई टू वैलिडेट इट. हम वैलिडेट करना चाहते हैं, विच वी ट्राई टू प्रूव इट, एंड वी वांट टू चेक इट. हम टेस्ट करना चाहते हैं कि वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट में सही भी है या नहीं है, और वो हम साइंटिफिकली, वी टेस्ट इट साइंटिफिकली थ्रू टूल्स एंड टेक्निक्स. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज अ साइंटिफिक रिसर्च. ओके. डिसाइड व्हाट इज योर वेरिएबल टाइप. मेजरमेंट स्केल, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर आप रिसर्च कर रहे हैं और अगर आप मेजरमेंट स्केल नहीं आता है अगर आपको, दैट मीन्स आपकी पूरी रिसर्च आप नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो डिसाइडिंग अपॉन मेजरमेंट स्केल जनरली 4 टाइप्स के होते हैं: नॉमिनल, ऑर्डिनल, इंटरवल, रेशियो. I will give you a simple example. Job satisfaction. I want to know the job satisfaction of faculties in different private universities. How can I measure job satisfaction of faculties? कैसे मैं measure कर सकती हूँ? How can I do it? There are n number of ways. कैसे? First, I I go to faculty A. I say, are you satisfied with your job? Yes or no? The faculty can answer yes or no. This is the first way of collecting or measuring the job satisfaction. Second, what I can say, I will say, okay, describe your level of satisfaction from this job, and that person start speaking. So this is a qualitative kind of thing. So how I'm measuring it? In qualitative ways, not in yes or no, but now in qualitative way I'm measuring it. Third, what I can say, okay, these are the parameters, please, of job satisfaction. Please rank it. Please say which one you are more satisfied and which one you are not satisfied. So I have done ranking system. Fourth, what I can do, I can tell him, okay, please read the statement and mark your level of satisfaction, like highly satisfied to dissatisfied. And there will be one individual statement, and the person has to give a tick. It has to tick, tick, tick karna hai. Or third, last I can say, please specify the percentage, that how much percentage you are satisfied. And that person say 80% I am satisfied with the job. So are you getting me? That the only one variable, I have measured that variable in different ways. I can measure it with yes or no. I can measure it in the qualitative form. I can measure it in the statement form, like highly satisfied to highly dissatisfied. I can measure it in the ranking form. I can measure it in the percentage form also. So measurement could be it can range from this thing, and all these categories is termed as nominal. Nominal means yes or no, or in something categories which has no meaning, only naming sake. Ordinal, that means ranking. Interval, when you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that interval ratio is there. And last one you are having ratio, that means a specific percentage you get. So I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you a brief. See, this topic itself takes 1 hour lecture, but I'm just telling you the crux, that measurement, knowing about measurement is very important. After getting sure about the variables in the study, decide how you are going to measure the variable. और कैसे decide करना है? Job satisfaction, it is not like that कि I can decide on my own. Okay, I will go for job satisfaction in yes or no. Read कि previously किस तरह से measure हुआ है. Read that how it is measured several times, because you have to justify. आपको justify करना पड़ेगा अपनी research में कि आपने job satisfaction को yes or no में क्यों measure किया है. Why not in qualitative ways? Why not in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 way? So you need to justify that thing. So measurement is very important. So I hope till now it is clear to you that how measurement scale, the variables under the study, and review of literature is important. After that, you have the techniques to use to test the hypothesis. लोग मेरे पास people they come to me and they tell me that okay please tell me which technique to apply, and I tell them that before applying the techniques you should be very clear about your objectives and the hypothesis which you have framed. So appropriate test depends upon the nature and the type of the variables you have studied. Like if you have collected the data on yes and no, I cannot use the same test on 54321 on interval scale. तो अगर आपने मेजरमेंट किसी ने जॉब सेटिस्फेक्शन क्वालिटेटिव डेटा में okay, so somebody has collected the qualitative data on job satisfaction, the technique would be very different for someone who has collected the data on quantitative nature. So how you have measured the data is very important. Carefully check your objectives. The objective should be very clearly define your variables. मैंने देखा है objectives लोग ऐसे define करते हैं to study the nature of like if I say to study the nature of motivation in particular organization or in Indian context, to explore the concept of something into this thing. Objective should be variable specific. Based on the objective, you should check your hypothesis. Hypothesis हमेशा जो होती है वो आप measurable context में बनाइए. Measurable context means उसमें variables mention होने चाहिए. Something which you can measure it, which you can check it. Okay. What to do? Clearly define the hypothesis. They should be always defined in such a way that it can be statistically tested and validated. Okay. So what we have discussed? We have discussed research topic. We have discussed review of literature, then variables, measurement. ये सब important topics हैं अगर आप research में हैं. Even अगर आप research journey आगे भी continue करते हैं. If you know about these topics, so you make most out of your PhD. वो आपको कोई problem नहीं आएगा. Technique selection, yes, technique selection will depends upon आपने measurement कैसे लिया है. Now, this is again a very important deciding the sample and collecting the data. The sampling design is very important. सैम्पलिंग डिजाइन के लिए आपको कुछ चीजें कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स बहुत अच्छे से आने चाहिए जो मैंने आपको 6 पॉइंट्स में मेंशन किए हैं. ये सैम्पलिंग डिजाइन का पार्ट है. सैम्पलिंग मीन्स समथिंग विच यू विल बी सेलेक्टिंग द यूनिट्स फ्रॉम द पॉपुलेशन. लाइक आई वांट टू गिव, मेरी जो थीसिस है वो है एमबीए स्टूडेंट्स पे इन राजस्थान. I cannot go to each MBA students in Rajasthan, so I have to select a sample unit. If there are suppose 1,30,000 students in Rajasthan for doing MBA, so that cannot be my part of study. I need to select certain only some students which will represent 1,30,000 students. So sampling means understanding the population and then sample concept क्या होता है. आपकी population type क्या है? Finite, infinite. Finite means MBA students, finite, you can collect or you can have the roll numbers from the different university. And if I say number of smokers, you cannot identify. आपके पास कोई sampling source नहीं है जहां से आप identify कर सकते हैं कि number of smokers कितने हैं या number of the people who drink alcohol या number of people who watches movie or the people who go for online shopping. तो इसमें आपकी infinite population है. फाइनाइट तो हो सकती है आप काउंट करना शुरू करें बट दैट विल टेक हेल लॉट ऑफ टाइम. सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम समथिंग फ्रॉम वेयर यू कैन हैव डिसाइड अ लिस्ट. लिस्ट मतलब एमबीए की स्टूडेंट्स की, जैसे 240 स्टूडेंट्स एक कॉलेज में है और मेरे पास एक लिस्ट आ चुकी है, दैट इज अ सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम. तो फॉर इनफाइनाइट पॉपुलेशन डेफिनेटली सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम पॉसिबल नहीं है. इसलिए आप देखेंगे एचआरओबी में जितनी भी स्टडीज होती है उसमें सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम अवेलेबल नहीं होती है. तो बिकॉज सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम के बेसिस पे देन यू विल डिसाइड कि काइंड ऑफ सैम्पलिंग टेक्निक क्या होगी, आप कैसे सेलेक्ट करेंगे सैंपल. तो ये सारी चीजें आई एम सेइंग दैट सैम्पलिंग, डिसाइडिंग अपॉन सैम्पलिंग साइज, सैम्पलिंग टेक्निक विल डिपेंड अपॉन कि आपकी पॉपुलेशन और सैंपल यूनिट क्या है. सो एमबीए स्टूडेंट्स, इफ आई एम टेकिंग अबाउट एमबीए स्टूडेंट्स में आई हैव अ सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम. So should I go for probability sampling, means giving chance to each and every student, और मैं एक लॉटरी सिस्टम जनरेट करूं, या फिर नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैम्पलिंग जो हम करते हैं, कन्वीनियंस जो मिला उससे हमने अपना क्वेश्चनर फिल करवा दिया. So what you are trying to do. So these are the certain topics, certain things when you are framing your sampling design, you should keep these things in mind. यूज एन अप्रोप्रिएट फॉर्मूला फॉर डिसाइडिंग योर सैम्पलिंग साइज. और एक जो सैम्पलिंग साइज के लिए एक टूल है, सॉफ्टवेयर है, वो है जी पावर टूल. तो जी पावर टूल इज देयर, ये भी फ्री सॉफ्टवेयर है, इसमें आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इसको यूज करने से पहले यू शुड बी वेरी वेल अवेयर अबाउट सर्टन अदर थिंग्स, अदर चीजें आपको आनी चाहिए, इंटरवल स्केल, कॉन्फिडेंस इंटरवल, वो टेक्निकल चीजें यू शुड नो। वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट थिंग देन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड जी पावर में आप कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं। डिसाइडिंग द टेक्निक टू कलेक्ट डेटा, अगेन प्राइमरी डेटा कलेक्शन करेंगे, सेकेंडरी डेटा कलेक्शन करेंगे, क्वेश्चनर बनाएंगे, स्केड्यूल बनाएंगे, ऑब्जर्वेशन से करेंगे, इंटरव्यू करेंगे, एवरीथिंग विल डिपेंड अपॉन योर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड हाइपोथेसिस। अगर आप वो बहुत क्लियर है, दीज ऑल स्टेप्स आर वेरी लाइक स्मूथ if you are very well aware about your objectives and hypothesis. Choosing appropriate test for your study. Test कैसे अब हम appropriate choose करेंगे? Decide upon the method of data collection. See, I told you how you are collecting your data and whether your data is a ratio data, आपने कोई sales लिया है and then advertisement cost लिया है, या you have collected data on the basis of the feelings and the behavior and the attitude and the perception of the customers or employees. आपने ऐसा कोई डेटा कलेक्ट किया जो 5 4 3 2 1 पर है, या आपने डेटा कलेक्ट किया है जस्ट मेल एंड फीमेल or in the form of categoricals like what kind of preference like you, so yes or no, how you have collected the data, it is very important. Measurement scale you should be very well aware, क्योंकि टेस्ट बेसिकली इसी पे डिपेंड करेगा कि आपने मेजरमेंट कैसे किया है। इफ यू हैव मेजर्ड इन अ नॉमिनल वे तो बहुत अलग टेस्ट है, ओनली इन द कैटेगरीज वे। ऑर्डिनल रैंकिंग पे आपने कलेक्ट किया है, इंटरवल में आपने कलेक्ट किया है, या रेशियो में। रेशियो मतलब जैसे मैं आपसे पूछती हूँ व्हाट इज योर इनकम, what is your age, age is 32, so this 32 is your ratio, this 32 is your exact number, and which is the highest, ये highest quality of the data होता है, which is ratio data. अकाउंटेंसी एंड कॉमर्स में जनरली हम रेशियो डेटा पे ही वर्क करते हैं, so that's why उसके अंदर मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस एंड मैथमेटिकल मॉडलिंग बहुत ज्यादा होती है। Identify the nature of variables, whether your variable is univariate, bivariate, multivariate, और आपके independent variable और dependent variable कितने हैं। So whether you are having a metric data or a non-metric data, ये सारी चीजें when till the time you are not clear about all these things, you cannot move to the test. आप टेस्ट पे तो जा ही नहीं सकते। So you have to be very aware about this thing. So what we have discussed research topic, how do you select your research topic, what are the points which you have to remember for your research topic, while selecting research topic, review of literature, how much it is important, how common softwares for review of literature, then what is the variable, like what are the variables which you can study, and what is the nature of variable, univariate, bivariate, multivariate, measurement. So how you are going to measure your variables in the form of like nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Collection, how you are going to collect your data, whether it would be your primary source or secondary source. Next point which you have to remember is what, that whether how many number of independent or dependent variables are there. Most important, how you are going to select your sample size selections kaise hoga. All these things are the steps of your research process, and this is the table which I have made, and the table is related to like metric and non metric and what kind of test which is available, आप टेस्ट कौन सा लगा सकते हैं उस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड में। बट इफ यू आर वेरी न्यू, अभी अगर आप बहुत न्यू हैं, मैं आपको बहुत कंफ्यूज नहीं करूंगी इन चीजों में। ये आप टेबल तब खोलेगा जब आप पहले की चीजें, इफ यू आर डन टिल हियर, if you are done in your research, then you open up this table, that you have one variable under study and that variable is metric variable। metric means number में है, quantitative and qualitative, metric non metric मतलब है quantitative and qualitative। तो अगर मैं एम्प्लॉय परफॉर्मेंस को स्टडी कर रही हूँ, तो एम्प्लॉय परफॉर्मेंस को अगर मैं स्टडी कर रही हूँ और वो मेट्रिक में है, तो मैं सिर्फ उसका मीन, मीडियन, मोड यही कैलकुलेट कर सकती हूँ। टेस्ट वही अप्लाई होगा इफ यू आर यूजिंग जस्ट वन वेरिएबल। इफ यू आर हैविंग टू वेरिएबल्स,
Monica ma'am,
yes,
as we are short of time, so
yes,
can you sum up in the end and
yes,
we
yes,
can
yes,
take some questions of the students? Like,
definitely, this is the
all
last
right,
slide,
all right.
yeah. Okay. So these are the slides or the tables which I have given you. So after deciding upon that all those things which I have told you, then you can just refer to these tables. I'm not saying that these are the only test which is applied, which you can apply, but yes, generally you can see that what kind of test you can apply. So these are the common softwares which is available in the social science research: Mendeley, eViews, SPSS, AMOS, Smart PLS, NVO, Lizral. ये सारे softwares हैं जो available है. And so whatever we have discussed till now, please read from the good journal, prepare or use softwares for your ROL. Keep a note of what people are doing in your research area. Be active in learning. Join good workshops, conference, prepare, give presentations, prepare, write paper. At least if you will have or participate in some conference, you will write a paper. Get aware about the top journals in your area कि आपके एरिया में top journals क्या है. Read research paper carefully, like introduction, ROL, discussion, results किस तरह से लिखे जाते हैं, so that you will understand the structure of the paper and give time to yourself also into this research journey. So this is the all the takes away which I have to decide, which I have to just tell you, and this is the end of the this my presentation. So if there are any kind of questions, Nidhi, I'm all here.
Hello.
Yes, Nidhi, please.
Yes, ma'am. That's wonderful, ma'am. Even, I got many of my questions, answers from you and from the slide as well. So
Thank you so much.
definitely, shall we take the some questions posted
Sure,
by the
sure.
students in the
Huh.
common platform? So I have highlighted in the chat box as well. So the first question from the researcher is how to highlight novelty in my research paper or the research title.
Okay. So first of all, that you need to read the literature and you need to find out the research gap. And for that, it start with the systematic review of literature paper. So recently, if you are doing into like environmental or something related to leadership, I will read a paper where I find out that what specific variables have not been studied, जो study नहीं किया है. तो मैं आपको नॉवेल्टी एग्जाम्पल के साथ आई विल एक्सप्लेन. लाइक इन माई एरिया, this research was not done into energy intensive sector area, which is very important if you talk about obviously सस्टेनेबिलिटी एंड एवरीथिंग एनर्जी. तो आपको एनर्जी इंटेंसिव एरिया में अगर रिसर्च नहीं है तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड दिस कम्स ओनली इफ आई रीड. सो बाय रीडिंग इट आई गॉट टू नो ओके, इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में एनर्जी इंटेंसिव इंडस्ट्रीज में ये चीज नहीं हुई है. तो नॉवेल्टी हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू एड, आप अपने टाइटल में वो स्पेसिफिक वर्ड डालिए. लाइक इन माई टाइटल देर इज एन स्पेसिफिक वर्ड. अभी आई हैव सबमिटेड अ पेपर इन अ बी जर्नल कैटेगरी जर्नल में सबमिट किया है, तो उसमें आई हैव रिटर्न that this study is related to energy intensive area. Now whenever you are writing introduction or contribution or discussion, always mention, आप उसमें mention करिए how it is going to contribute, how it is going to fill the research gap, how it is going to add to the existing literature. तो what you have to novelty में क्या, first adding to the existing literature, second what you are providing, आपकी research क्या provide कर रही है, third future में ये क्या manager implications देता है. So these are the things which you need to write in your complete paper, and word that you are using it वो आपका वहां पर होगा टाइटल में. इफ यू आर सेइंग कि आपके रिसर्च में मॉडरेशन मीडिएशन या कोई पर्टिकुलर सॉफ्टवेयर अप्रोच यूज नहीं हुई है लाइक एमोस और स्मार्ट पीएलएस, मेंशन दैट इन योर टाइटल. आप उस टाइटल में मेंशन करिए, तो दैट विल हाईलाइट, वो हाईलाइट करेगा. ओके.
That's nice, ma'am. Surely
ओके.
he'll get the answer.
या.
Another question is how to address academic dishonesty and pressure to complete the PhD, because one of the researcher is in the third year of his research. So he's just asking, I think he might be in a pressure to complete the PhD that way.
So
So that's it.
dishonesty in what context? Like
I don't know.
dishonesty.
I think he has posted some from, I think, from the another website. So it's
Okay.
the same question.
So like
Maybe the kind of pressure he's facing for completing the PhD. That can be a
PhD.
reason.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if you are, see, first of all, I would say that this is not a one-time thing that okay, you have completed the PhD and now you do not have to do anything. But if you are under stress, always talk to someone, to your guide, and if you feel like okay, I cannot share it with my guide because in Indian university the scenario is totally different, and I understand.
Absolutely.
So talk to your friends, to your the who are doing into the same area and relax. Everyone is the sailing in the same boat. अगर आपको लगता है मैंने 3 साल बर्बाद कर दिए, मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया है, तो ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया है. बट यू कैन ऑलवेज स्टार्ट, यू कैन ऑलवेज स्टार्ट, मतलब फ्रॉम अ
Right.
बिगिनिंग आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. सो इफ यू विल डू दैट थिंग स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली. बट ओनली वन थिंग जो मुझे हमेशा से लगता है, never never ever stop reading or never feel like okay let's discontinue this thing. Never give up, because if you feel कि आपका academic career उसमें है, आप चाहते हैं उसमें, uh, so without PhD many things will become like a hurdle for you in academic thing, like you won't get promotion or you won't get into the next higher level. So that is important. So remember that long goal कि हाँ वहां तक जाना है. So it will take time, but it's okay. Everybody is doing the same thing.
Exactly, exactly. That everybody faces in their research journey.
Journey. Yeah,
So,
yeah. So at one or
exact,
the some other point of time, you will feel like giving it up. You will feel like
exactly,
why I'm doing
exactly.
such kind of things.
Probably this state every researcher has to face in his or her life.
Yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
Another question is like how to outline a research paper.
Okay. So first of all, I would say two context. If you are writing a research paper, first you decide what type of research paper you are writing first. Okay, so you have to select type of the research paper, because there are different types of research paper: general research paper, review research paper, empirical research paper. What kind of research or qualitative research paper you are writing? Broad categories I'm talking about. Second, a general structure is that you start with the introduction, then you have a review of literature, then objectives you have, hypothesis you have, then you have your research methods or research design, then finally you have results, and then discussion, then implications, and then your conclusion. So it goes like this in
Right.
a general format, I'm saying. But
Yes.
if you are saying that I'm writing it for a journal, though the approach is different now. So for a journal it would be simply go to that journal, see the paper of that journal, and then this you will get a format. Okay, the papers are written in particular format. So like Emerald, they have a particular format. Emerald is a publisher which publishes good journals. So if this format, the format which I have told you right now in common, this will not work for Emerald. ये Emerald में काम नहीं आएगा. तो आपको you have to just select the journal which you are interested in, and then look that how they have written the paper, and based on that you can have a, आप अपनी headings बना सकते हैं कि okay review of literature आएगा पहले, then हमें objectives लेने हैं, and then you can
So
have your
it
meta.
depends upon a journal to journal or maybe the publisher to
Yes,
publisher.
publisher to publisher, because Sage publication they have a different thing, Emerald they have different thing, Taylor and Francis का अलग रहता है. तो
Exactly.
why to waste time, like अगर आप पहले से अपना कोई एक फॉर्मेट कॉमन लेकर चलेंगे तो पेपर तो एक्सेप्ट कभी नहीं होगा, क्योंकि दे
Right.
हैव पर्टिकुलर फॉर्मेट. अगर आप उस पर्टिकुलर स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है पेपर का तो वो एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं करेंगे. बाकी एक कॉमन जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है वो यही होता है, इंट्रोडक्शन,
Right.
आरओएल और ये सारा वही चलता है.
Exactly. Uh, I think there are two more questions. One is,
हाँ.
ma'am, kindly share a few tips to keep in mind when writing a literature review.
Writing a literature review is very important. So first thing is that use softwares और use Excel sheet. आप दोनों में से एक यूज करिए. सेकेंड चीज मैं आपको बोलूंगी, जब रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर करेंगे, मुझे जो बहुत हेल्प किया था वो था ऑलवेज राइट द नेम ऑफ द ऑथर्स. आप ऑथर्स की एक लिस्ट बनाइए जो आपकी फील्ड में काम कर रहे हैं. थर्ड,
Right.
सिस्टमैटिक रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर के पेपर से स्टार्ट करिए. उससे आपको बहुत बहुत हेल्प ये मिलेगी कि अभी तक का जो भी काम हुआ है आपके पर्टिकुलर फील्ड में, आपको सब पता चल जाएगा कि क्या काम हुआ है. तो देर आर टाइप्स ऑफ रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर: नरेटिव रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर, ट्रेडिशनली यू आर राइटिंग, सिस्टमैटिक यू आर राइटिंग, मेटा सिंथेसिस, मेटा एनालिसिस, ये सब टाइप ऑफ रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर होता है. नरेटिव हम जनरली कॉमन फॉलो करते हैं, जो ट्रेडिशनल एक अप्रोच रहता है. तो वो लिखने के लिए अप्रोच शुड बी, माइंडसेट थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट होना चाहिए. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टिप इज एटलीस्ट रीड फॉर 1 आवर. हर एक, और 1 आवर नहीं बोलूंगी, रीड 2 पेपर्स. अब वो आप 1 घंटे में पढ़िए या 2 घंटे में, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. बट
Right.
हाँ, रीड 2 पेपर्स एंड राइट द क्रक्स, सो यू विल अंडरस्टैंड
Right.
दैट वो हो क्या रहा है उसमें.
Yes, reading is must actually.
Must, very
Yes.
very important.
And the last question is how to select a research problem.
Yes. Selecting a research problem is again very, I would say, the most important task, because till the time you do not select upon the right research problem which you are interested in solving it out, it will create problem for you. So how can you select a research problem? If you are very new and you feel that I do not have any idea, ask to your guide, and whatever your guide tells you, you can just have a look on that thing, read, and then you feel okay, this is the area of interest, then you can do that thing. Second thing what you can do is that once you start, जैसे अभी मैं थोड़ा चेंज कर देती हूँ. माई एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज लाइक फाइनेंस. फाइनेंस में मैं जाती हूँ, वो उसमें मैं रिपोर्टिंग में पढ़ना चाहती हूँ. रिपोर्टिंग आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग, तो आई स्टार्टेड कलेक्टिंग सम आर्टिकल्स. और रिपोर्टिंग में मैंने देखा नॉट ओनली ऑन द एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स, लेकिन अभी जो है वो बिजनेस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रिपोर्टिंग, इंटीग्रेटेड रिपोर्टिंग बहुत कॉमन, अब बहुत पॉपुलर हो रही है इंडिया में. तो
Right.
आई एम इंटरेस्टेड, आई वांट के इंटीग्रेटेड रिपोर्टिंग कैसे होता है इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, बिकॉज इट इज स्टार्टेड इन साउथ अफ्रीका फर्स्ट. अब ये सब मैं किस लिए बोल पा रही हूँ, बिकॉज मैंने पढ़ा है, इसलिए मैं बोल पा रही हूँ. तो दिस कम्स ओनली आफ्टर यू स्टार्ट रीडिंग. So then you can discuss it with your guide, and if he and she is comfortable, then you can decide upon a research problem that in what
Right.
context you can do it.
Right, ma'am. Surely, I think we are add up with the all the questions of the researcher and the dissertation students of MCOM with regard to
Okay.
Parallel Institute of Commerce. So, I would like to extend a vote of thanks for you, ma'am. It's been really, really a wonderful webinar that you have provided such a meaningful insights on the issue which every researcher and every even the faculty members, when they start writing their own research after completion of PhD or the research paper or for the Scopus nowadays, so they'll face some of the issues, problems, obstacles, uh, which are as considered the most crucial and critical aspects of choosing whether the sampling, research test, or what kind of new innovative title we need to give to the research paper. So definitely with these kind of tips and dimensions you have covered in your session today, it was really value adding. I'm sure the students must have gained the valuable knowledge and understanding about the significant concepts right from the starting regarding the title framework, then methodology, the research process, test, and the softwares which you have included at an advanced level, clearing
Hmm.
this. The terminology which you have given regarding the scale part, that is wonderful. For this intensive information and knowledge shared by yourself, I think definitely they're gonna use it. A very wonderful examples even with your research experience you have given. So in that way, I really am really thankful to you, ma'am, for spending such a valuable time with us. I also would like to thank all the participants and viewers on the Facebook platform, as well as the GeoMeet platform, wherein even the international research students have also joined us with this. All the faculty colleagues for making this session a success. At the last, I want to put my vote of thanks to Dean Professor Ajay Trivedi, um, Parole Institute of Commerce, and Doctoral Studies Department, Parole Institute, for providing such an opportunity to organize the series of webinars in terms of research. That will definitely going to encourage the researcher and the faculty fraternity to improve day by day in this regard. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
would definitely like to call yourself to our institute here at Parul University so that you can address a more and more audience here, maybe in the coming future for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you, ma'am, for
Thank
spending
you
time.
so much. Thank you so much, Nidhi.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
for such this wonderful opportunity. And just I wish all the best to the participants. And a very heartfelt thank you to the dean of your university, as well as to the doctoral department, who are thinking so much about the research students, because this is the need of the hour and it will definitely help
Yes.
a lot of students. And thank you for such a wonderful coordination, Nidhi. You were just
Thank you,
constantly
ma'am.
having a very, very well communication and coordination. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am. Thank you
All the
so
best
much.
to you and all the best to all the other participants.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be leaving right now. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you can
Thank
leave.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.